your drive home on Hot 103. Folks, looks like that storm is headed right for us. Gonna put some gas in my Furman generator, stop by the ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, and of course, watch Mike's weather page. Y'all stay safe out there.
All right. Good morning, everybody. What's up? Jason, Lubbock, Texas. I got you. Well, how's everybody doing? There's our timer. We're down to 0. Nothing's going to happen. It just goes to 0. Brownies are done. Phone's been really going off a lot today, so you might hear some buzzing from the phone. How you doing? Let's talk about some weather. I got Louie on me. He's very tired today, but he was very jealous today because every time anybody paid attention to Hunter, he gave us the look. So maybe he'll understand that I love him just as much. Oh man, so we're getting the upper Gulf getting rocked right now. Texas with some sneaky storms last night. Oh my gosh, hail for so many folks. Trash cans blown over. And that's on its way here across the area here. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. I promise you, we will talk weather. Cylinder from the Smokies. What's up? We got Shelly over there helping out. On the other coast, dealing with smoke and fires. Been a crazy week here with fires down in South Florida. Closing down US 1. Pollen everywhere. Marianne. Pollen. Terrible. I'm adding to the smoke too. We had our HOA fire last night. You know, and posts get people so angry. You know, I'm not an angry person. But man, we had some people mad last night about something. I don't even know. Oh man, it was all good. Morning, Kate. What's up? Glenda from Iowa. You get some bad storms out there. Hey, James. Got some softball tomorrow. We're excited about. Heading down to Fort Myers. Yeah, Marianne, that was some new Morgan Wallen. Morning, Sharon from Brunswick. How's it going? Yeah, who else is chiming in today? So we're streaming live on X. Good morning, X. Good morning, Facebook. And good morning, YouTube. And we should have been on TikTok, but I think there's a technical difficulty there. So it's not working, I don't believe. So hope you had a good weekend. We got some storms we're going to talk about brewing, and we got some big weather coming. It looks like this weekend, and the heat is sneaking in on us. So that might have been our last big cold. Maybe not. We'll see. We always get a sneaky cool front towards April, but hurricane predictions are going to be coming out next week. Colorado State University, so that'll be the beginning of the hype. We'll start getting news updates on this hurricane season predictions. That'll be next week. And I'll share them, as we always do. Right, buddy? Anyway, all right. So our Daily Brew brought to you by our good friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Hope you had a great weekend celebrating and doing whatever you do. Hopefully you pulled into your local ABC and did a little shopping there. Our place to shop, especially when there's a weekend ahead of us. Here's the radar. This is kind of what we're going to be talking about. Big storms going across lower Louisiana right now, heading into New Orleans area. We had some sneaky storms through the night through Texas, Galveston. I had a lot of folks talking about it. Lightning was incredible last night. This is all moving eastbound and down. So watch for some of that in the next several hours. And we might get some of these storms in the Tallahassee area, lower Georgia, all this big clump right here over Louisiana right now. We got a severe thunderstorm watch happening now. We got a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow. So pretty stormy morning going on right now. Right half pint. Tallahassee's the pollen capital. I believe it, with all those trees up there. Jack, I love my HOA. I guess, so we have neighbors that still cutting wood down, fences, and I get piles of wood. They know we like the fire pit. So somebody was even questioning when I said hurricane debris. It was debris. There's still tree limbs and stuff. People are cutting and stuff, so. Anyway, I'm all good. All good. Everything's good on our end. So here's the storms. Louie needs coffee. Mark. Yeah, we did. It was a Red Bull morning. I have not had one of these in a long time, but I needed it today. I needed it. Here's a little picture Sarah gave me before she went to school. I really don't know what it is. I don't really know what it is. I feel bad. Do y'all feel guilty throwing away your kids' things? I think she said Chili's. I think she was drawing Chili's. So it was a sign she wanted to go to Chili's maybe for dinner. So Sarah, if you're watching, I love my photo. They watch me at their school. I'm going to save it for a rainy day. So there's a radar. And we do have some weather coming we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk a little bit about hurricane season. I'm going to talk a little bit here what I got posted here later today. I want to get into real quick. Yesterday was Puppy Day. I don't know if I put this picture in the comments section, but it was always one of my favorite. The boys dressed up for Halloween. That's Hunter and the pumpkin thing. And then Louie was, I guess, Chucky, or clown. So we had so much fun. Thank you all for your puppy pictures yesterday. It was fun seeing all those pictures. Yeah, it is a pepper, Norma. It was. It almost looked like something else. I can't say it, but yeah, I know, Shelly. I'm gonna have to probably get rid of that too. So. So there's a picture of the boys. A couple things, and we'll get right into weather. So 2 days ago, I went down Bay Pines area. This is Madeira Beach area, and I could not believe 6 months after Helene, we had still damages down that way. like it just happened yesterday. It was almost like you just took a step back in time 6 months ago, and some of these homes still had furniture in there, couch upside down. It's just, you see these scenes after the storms, but 6 months after, it still kind of hit home. Like, man, almost a half a year ago, right? Still have boats up on land. There's folks still with generators because they condemned this area, so the power can't go back on, but there's people still living. But I ran across a gentleman that had his houseboat sunk during Milton. He made it through Helene, but I guess Milton did it in, and he was in the same area. Story was on ABC Action News with him too, but I met him. Unbelievable story he shared with me, and I don't know, something brought us together. I was leaving, he was walking, he had his little boat there going to his new little place on the water, and just hoping to retire. He was 63. Great guy. So we're going to set up a little something for him. I'm hoping that we do a little neighbors helping neighbors thing, because he's trying to rebuild, and he lost everything, and so watch for that little story later today. I've never really done anything like that before, but we're trying to do this neighbors. We had our charity event. We raised $13,000. So I'm gonna post a little video, a little interview I did with Chris, and talk about his experience during Milton, and lost his home and has nothing now. So be our little contribution. I know there's a lot of folks, and it's tough to just pick one person, but if we can help one person, at least it's better than none. And there's still people recovering all over, not just Florida, Carolinas, Georgia, a lot of folks. And this is always a sad scene, is the months after a storm. There's still blue tarps up in the Panhandle from Michael, apparently. So, and that was several years ago. But just before I close it out, just picture this area right here, all this damage, these homes. And I drew this, where the red area, where that picture was I just took, is the red arrow. And what is fascinating so much to me is that area had so much surge in winds and waves, and it was so far off the Gulf pretty much. Just showing you, that you can still have damage off the actual direct hit. And this is the exact location of, this was Helene, that was surge damage that you saw. But this is Helene. Helene was 100 miles off the Florida coast, but that angle, I'm going to get into this another day, but that angle, pushing that water in where the Pinellas County just pushed, unfortunately, the perfect angle that a storm that far off, kind of where Ada followed. We talk a lot about that, but fascinating to think that little red arrow is where that housing community was, and everybody had damage, but that's where the picture was. So kind of fascinating, really, right? Crazy. Definitely. There's what it looked like last night. There's your lightning map. Definitely had a lot of action overnight. Michael wanted to know, Milton or Helene, what's worse? Well, they both had their own impacts. Gosh, Helene was not just Florida. It was flooding. It was huge flooding. Helene was a lot of water. Then of course landfall. I was up there for Keaton Beach and Steenhatchee area, terrible. Milton, the south of landfall was terrible. Minnesota Key, I was down there for that. Milton had all those tornadoes. A lot of inland flooding with Milton. So, every storm's so different. I don't know if you can really compare the two. I think they both had significant impacts, Michael, So, thank you, Alice. Hey, thank you, Jack. Still boats from Katrina. That's crazy. Yeah, I know. Crazy. Just to think, right? Seems like so long ago. Definitely. But that's what the lightning looked like. Lightning going to town there. And that's current. Those little slashes, or each one of those is lightning. Yeah, Michael, Sarasota was pretty beat up. And the winds on Milton north of the system was actually incredible. It was pulling down jet stream energy, and we had the north and the northwest side of Milton started pulling in on the backside. That's why there was a lot of damages across Pinellas County inland because of those winds. So we had a lot of different impacts, and Milton had all that rain. You know, the Withlacoochee. We had so much inland flooding around here and water rescues, and you know, it's just every storm is just so different with its impacts that you know. Woo! Anyway, that's what it looks like there. They just updated this. Let me. There you go, yellow. So we got a level 2 slight risk. They call it. I hate that word slight. So 2 is more than 1. So we can see some storms across Louisiana and Mississippi there. And this green goes all the way to lower Alabama and Georgia and even Florida. So there you go. Those are we're expected to see severe storms throughout the day today. All right. Could be some leftovers up toward the Atlantic East Coast. It looks like it's going to fizzle for the Florida Peninsula. Could get a little bit tomorrow, though, as this gets down in the Gulf and fuels off of some heat for the lower part of Florida. But this is through today. So expect some strong gusty storms here in the yellow for sure. They just upgraded that. And the green's going to extend to this evening for lower Georgia there and in the Florida Panhandle. So that's kind of where we're watching for storms today. Tomorrow, there you go. These are the, you know, so tomorrow when that front kind of does its thing and leaves, we're going to have a push of energy that might come through the lower part of Florida here, especially south part. So could be some storms tomorrow, lower half of Florida down in the south Florida for sure. Then we got a little break, and then we got this. So there's a big system coming this weekend. This is Saturday. They already have a day. What is that, 5 or 6 or whatever? I don't even know. But anyway, that's Saturday. Then look at this. This is massive. High confidence that far out. Usually the Storm Prediction Center doesn't go out this far for confidence. So the big factor is the heat. And I'm going to show you some modeling here in a little bit. But there is so much heat brewing this week. And it's starting to show signs that we're going to start seeing this flow and maybe just be a busy into April, as usually it is. So this could be, you know, just a repeat pattern as we get into this spring season. But that's a large area on Sunday from basically Gulf to the Great Lakes that could see some storms. And it includes, you know, folks that we cover all the time across the south there. And then this actually will push off into Monday. They don't have any highlighted areas, but this will continue into Monday, and there is a cold front behind it, so we'll see how far down that cold front gets. Usually this time of year the cold fronts start getting horizontal, and we don't have that vertical or diagonal push south that we normally see. These lows lift higher, but still create storms. So that's going to be interesting. That'll be what we're watching this week, Sunday. So hey, Katie Haley, hope Greg's doing good. That is the biggest day 7 ever. It is? It could be the biggest. In Florida Panhandle. Yes, you're right. What's up, Will, down in Naples? How's it going? What's up, Stephanie in Melbourne? What's up, Loretta Reed in North Carolina? Lower Alabama, North Florida, half pint. Yep, you're right. Stephanie Dreyer, good morning. What's the forecast, Shelley? Well, nothing's official. But they are going to have their first official Colorado State University forecast next week, and it'll be probably above average, not by much. I have a feeling that they're gonna come out with slightly above average season expected, but we'll get into all that down the road. I have many opinions about that. But biggest thing I see is that we're going to be in La Nina, which means usually a push more west, meaning more Caribbean and possible U.S. with a bigger Bermuda high in place. It's all about that high. Me and my dad were talking about that high. East Florida, Eastern Atlantic hasn't, you know, it's been a little lull there. The high moves us a little bit off to the northeast, and any storms brewing will have more of a chance to, you know, curve into that direction. So that stuff's impossible to predict except numbers or early season. So that's that. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So we got some other things to talk about. Heavy rain. Judy was talking about this. This is heavy rain, a couple days down in South Texas. There's really not a lot on this map, day 3 to day 7. So this one doesn't go out far enough to show that big storms brewing. But there's your heavy rain. South Texas is going to get some heavy rain. Here it is. This is rainfall through Saturday morning. This is 5-day rainfall. Obviously, the Pacific Northwest. Very little in this line tomorrow. If it does make it through Florida, maybe down in South Florida, you can see that. And remember, blue is a half an inch. So, unfortunately, Carolina's all wanting rain, but this doesn't look like... we might have some isolated cells and pockets this afternoon, this evening maybe, but nothing's showing up heavy, because it's a fast-moving frontal line. But Texas could get it a couple inches. They are worried about flash flooding currently, though, with this line. So, isolated cells in this storm system we're watching currently could bring some sneaky rains across that upper Gulf. Louisiana right now. But this is your 5-day rain map through Saturday morning. We'll just leave it there. We can look at some individual modeling here now. Let me show you. This is the, let's see, the 12Z. I hate the time change because 12Z now is an hour later. That's the worst thing about this time change. 12Z now runs now, 40 hours in. All right. Morning there, Margaret. How's it going? Carport, they never came back for it. Kelly, West Virginia, what's up? Greg's making progress. Katie, good. I'm glad. All right, so here's the radar. This is the future radar today. You can see these. This is the storms that are going to pack the biggest punch here, and you can see them coming across. Pensacola can get another round. This is about 11, 12 o'clock today, noon today. But watch this line. This is the curious thing. What's it going to do with the daytime heating? This little blob might fizzle, but this is going to bring some South Florida action tomorrow, I think. But there's around Tallahassee this afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock. We could see a line of storms this evening. So this clump that's currently producing all the severe thunderstorm warnings is going to make its way across the day here. This is this evening, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. This is 5 o'clock p.m. So, and it tries to get some down in South Georgia, Valdosta area, and maybe Brunswick areas down in South Georgia, maybe Jacksonville. You can kind of see it. A little bit of rains across Carolinas this evening into tonight, but nothing organized. There's that final push out of here overnight. So then it's out of here way before morning. So whatever that is, that's what it's going to look like. You might get some overnight rains across Carolinas, maybe some more South Carolina, it looks like, than North Carolina, but that's it. And, so the big question on storms is going to be this afternoon. Daytime heating. If things don't get cooled off with rains now, and we get any pockets of action. This is an interesting little clump out here in the Gulf. Now, what kind of fizzles, but now it kind of ignites for tomorrow. Our sea breeze actually kicking in. This is kind of like classic summertime pattern. Tomorrow we got some storms across Carolina showing up. Still another little line, little frontal line coming through the Carolina. Look at that for tomorrow. So we'll go a little higher up and see what that looks like. But tomorrow down in my area, look at that. We got little storms popping midday tomorrow. And the flow, it's all about the flow. The high is not that strong, so that means the flow is east to west. So we're going to have a continued push here tomorrow. So that's why I think I-4 South, we're definitely going to see sneaky little storms tomorrow. The return of summertime little thunderstorms tomorrow. And hopefully, if there's are any fires down there, it'll disappear, right? But that's it. I mean, that's kind of cool. Mid-Atlantic, let's take a look at that real quick. For tomorrow, you can see this little line. Now, that's an interesting little line, actually. That's a good little surge. This is tomorrow evening. Look at that line. Bobby, you watching? Look at that. There's a sneaky little line. Roanoke, Virginia, through West Virginia there. I know we just had somebody say hello from West Virginia. This is tomorrow. Little system comes up through the day. Here's about noontime through Charleston there, and it comes through, maybe bringing some snow at the higher elevations. And it pushes on out of here tomorrow. A little low almost. And there it goes. So tomorrow evening, look at that. And tomorrow night, we're going to see some rain in the Outer Banks northward. Been seeing that. So we go over here and confirm it. Let's go over here and look at the storm charts for tomorrow. This is Tuesday. I didn't really show up like I thought I was going to show. There's a low. This is what goes through tomorrow. Doesn't really show up on tomorrow's surface charts. Well, I guess it does. There it is right there. This is tomorrow. Maybe that's today, actually. Anyway, well, this might be the morning. But anyway, we got a little low coming across. You just saw it. So whatever it is, it is. Look at this. That's pretty. Oh, not found. That's not a good thing. Where did it go? We just lost satellite. That's not good. I didn't lose satellite. They lost satellite. All right, let's look at some other model maps for you and say hello. Slow down a little bit because we're going to run out of things to talk about. So I got my little story coming out with Chris later. I want y'all to watch it, and hopefully we can go back down there again and bring a little joy to his bad situation. Margaret, thank you. Yeah, that little video of Louie, it was cool. It took me forever to find it. I was glad I found it. Timothy Deboo, is that the little sneaky low pressure area? I think I was talking to him about that a little bit, maybe. Charlene from Sarasota. Butch, thank you. Yep, I will spread that message. We just had a friend that was up there and sent us a bunch of videos showing the area and how bad it was. What's up there, Kitron? What's up, Josh, Shuck, Kevin? What did he put up, Timothy? We can look into that. I'm pretty sure I know what it was, but we can look at it. All right, so weather-wise, let's look at next weekend. So the heat. Let me show you the heat first off. Okay, so this is what's cooking. A lot of heat through the week. Okay, we're going to be back down in the 80s. This is Thursday. 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80. All this heat is coming back. We're going to have 80s up through Mississippi on Friday, up through Georgia. Middle 80s. We got some 90s possibly into Florida in the weekend on Sunday, Monday. Look at all this now. This is Sunday. Okay, let me broaden this out a little bit. I can't really do... but Sunday, I guess I can enlarge it. This is an incredible amount of heat. So this is a big reason that they have so much area under that Storm Prediction Center outlook for Sunday. That's hot. We're talking 87 in Arkansas, 84 all the way up to Tennessee line. So this is Sunday. We even got hundreds down in South Florida. What's up with that? 90s in Orlando, maybe. This is Sunday. But that's why we have such a large Storm Prediction Center set up for Sunday, because we got a little energy, but we got the heat. Energy and heat. Cold on the backside, cold front, cold air up top. So all this helps bring storms up and together. So that's kind of why we got a big storm chance on the weekend. That's Sunday. I suspect it'll continue Monday into the East Coast, maybe down in Florida. So, yep, we'll look at that, Timothy. Lillian, you're welcome. What's up, Teresa? So that's Sunday. Big heat. Crazy heat. So that's kind of what's cooking with the long range looking. Now everything's super duper zoomed. Let me zoom out of here. 100%. All right. So again, let's look at tropical tidbits here and look at these storms. Basically, we're going to see the big high pressure in place, flowing warm Gulf moisture out ahead of this heat. And we have energy coming down from the north, and then boom, we get storms. And that's kind of what's merging right there. This is Sunday morning. Little pop there. Big area highlighted. This is Sunday. They got the storms out ahead of it on Saturday here. But it could be something to watch here Saturday into Sunday, even pulling up. But the big area they got highlighted right here from the Gulf to the Great Lakes. This is that area of intense heat, and we get into Monday morning, hard to tell. There's a little line here, a little left over here. We'll have to really see what's left, but we could see some sneaky stuff into Monday next week. So Sunday's that big area I showed circled. Somewhere on Monday, we're gonna probably see some storms the week from today. Looking kind of guaranteed. GFS, same setup, shows you the same thing. Bunch of low pressure dipping low on Sunday, bringing up storms, and then maybe a line on Monday. And that's that. I don't know what is it? Not ideal. No fire pit. We got one more fire pit left before all the wood goes away. Timothy. So I'm not really seeing anything on the latest couple runs here. We'll look. We can look more. So that's the setup. Let me look at Canadian. Oh heck yeah! Look at that. My goodness. That's what the hell's that? That's There's all kinds of stuff on the Canadian model. Here's Saturday, Sunday. It's actually pushing it through Florida on Sunday, but it's probably a little too fast. Euro AI kind of showing you the same thing. There's Saturday. There's your low pressure. And then all that action here on Sunday. And a little bit lingers into Monday. So yeah, there's that 540 dip line. 540 means usually it's a pretty dip in front. So I think Monday it'll be sneaky here across the East Coast, down possibly into Florida. We'll see about that. Let's look at a couple other things, and then we'll go back to Tropic talking. I reckon. Little Hunter down here. Want to say hi, buddy? Come here. Come here. Come over. Hey, everybody. Say hi, you guys. I'm still doing good. Say hi. Cool. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. I don't see anything brewing yet that needs to be talked about, but it does happen. Storms do happen in April, May. It's not uncommon. Right, Hunter? You're such a good boy. He almost looks fake. Move. Do something. All right, so we'll look at a couple more little graphics here I want to show you on this potential storm system. And you can look at things like the 700 velocity, and this kind of shows you where there's a lot of instability in the atmosphere. Here's your little low, bringing up storms Saturday, and then Sunday, you're getting a random popping of storms Gulf to the Great Lakes. This is Sunday on the Euro. Some of that could make its way into where I live into Monday. So we're going to keep an eye on the eastern Atlantic coast and down into my neck of the woods here. So yeah, I can see what they're doing. A lot of heat and instability. And, a little dip in the jet stream helping fuel things. So that's where we're at. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow. I don't want to go too much in it, except Storm Prediction Center really showing it. There's a pretty good little signature that we could see this more into Sunday night across upper Florida northward. So we'll keep an eye on these trends. Go from there. Cool. He wants to sleep, Joanna. Yep. Richard, what's up, buddy? What's old Brew Crew saying? Who's suing? Oh, you guys are talking about something else. Rain talk, Judith. Yeah, well, here's your rain talk for Texas. Let's talk about Texas real quick, because we got some folks in Texas. So we do have some rain coming, and let's look at Texas South Central, and we'll look at some rain when it's coming. A couple inches, and I think it's Tuesday. Comes up actually out of the south. That's really weird. All right, so here's Wednesday night. Definitely into through the end of the week. Wednesday, Thursday, maybe. Kind of see it. This is Wednesday, Thursday, maybe some into Friday. That's one run of the Euro. We can look at GFS. So it looks like, I thought it was more, oh, there we go. This is more realistic. This is, when it looks like more Thursday. I would say it's more Wednesday into Thursday. There's some heavy rain on the GFS. So pretty much more midweek to the end of the week. And that's some big numbers all the way to Friday morning. We got 8-9 inches here. That's on the latest GFS. Interesting. It'll bounce around. Let's see, 00Z. But you get, that's pretty good. So, I mean, most of this is going to be Thursday. Thursday for sure. Somewhere here. It's looking very suspicious for some heavy rains Thursday coming up from the south. So there you go. That helped. Let's look at a blend of maps, which I like this far out. We can kind of just get a feeling. I got a feeling. Ooh. All right, let's look at Texas. And so nothing till Wednesday. So you definitely Thursday. Here's Thursday into Friday. So Thursday and Friday. That's a lot of rain. That's pretty confident. We could have definitely higher numbers. These blended models are good for showing you an area, not exact numbers. Always have more or less isolated, so that when you see the GFS popping out 8, 9, 10 inches isolated spots, you know there's going to be a lot of precipitable water in the atmosphere. I mean, we can look at that actually and see it pull up out of Mexico. I don't know if it would do. I don't think we have precipitable water on this map. I think we got to go. Maybe we'll just go golf here. And there's precipitable water. So we can see that juice pull up. Right here. There it is. Boom. See how high pressure builds in and all that precipitable water moves up Thursday and Friday. Right there. Boom. That's moisture. And GFS will show probably a little more than that with your precipitable water. So green and yellow is, green is, anything 2 inches is really heavy rain in the atmosphere. So we're right at the border there, yellow and red. That's just showing you the moisture backing up around that high up into Texas. So Thursday, Friday for sure. Heavy rain. One thing, water temperatures. I've been tracking these little guys. This has been interesting. We've had a lot of cold down here. Your 7-day temperature change really cooled down a lot. I think I had a Bay News. There it is, Bay News 9, Spectrum 9. So 65 in Panama City area, Pensacola, Destin, 65-degree temperature. 66 around Galveston there, Houston area. 69 in Tampa. So that shelf waters have been extremely cool. Shallow water, cooler water. It's still 81s down the Caribbean, and it won't be long. It'll be warming back up. Trust me. These sea surface temperatures fluctuate fast. But it's still cold. Even your 30-year anomaly maps are low, which are right here, showing you that. And that's basically your shallow shelf. You got your loop current, your big shallow shelf. Say that 3 times. Shallow shelf. Your shelf waters are cooler than normal because it's shallow. Shallow shelf. But anyway, just fascinating. You know what I'm talking about if you were in spring break. That water's cold. 4-minute warning. 1-minute warning, Shelly. Oh my God, we almost made it 10. Yeah, you got some rain coming your way tomorrow. That you saw it. Made a little snow. Like I said, next week, I think it's the 4th, maybe, I don't know, 3rd or 4th. CSU, Philip Glocksback is going to be doing their CSU hurricane forecast. My guess is going to be slightly above what we saw last year. It doesn't matter. Last year was 18 storms. They predicted way more than that. Reality is a lot more realistic than guessing. Because, I mean, remember all the headlines last year were hyperactive season. It was. But we had less storms than we did the year before. So it's not about the number of storms. It's the conditions. And if the conditions are there, like La Nina and neutral Enzo, not El Nino, and water anomalies are warmer, long range. There's a lot of long range models. Things in the Pacific that control things in the Atlantic. But if all that's there, then you know you're going to have storms. Where they go, nobody can predict that. I do know that the years that we have stronger high pressure in place, we have more of a push west, and that's what we get with La Nina years. So that's kind of what we're leaning towards. Latest forecast here in March shows a very low chance of El Nino, so we're going to be somewhere around La Nina or neutral around September, October, November. That's kind of the months that Caribbean is where you watch. So, there you go. So only takes one. But we'll talk about this a lot more in the weeks ahead with the season ahead. And once we get into April, I don't want to get into that too much. This is interesting with the golf temps. Brian McNulty's site. I thought this would be interesting to show. This is your golf anomaly map. And you can see we're right there, a little bit below the 10-year 13 to 24 average. Notice 24 last year, we had that stretch of heat in June and then July. I think Beryl took a lot of it. But here's August and September, October. You can see how hot that water was. This line right here, 24 is right up here. Hot water, storms. So golf, we really don't know what the temperatures are going to be in August, September, October. But if you're looking at last year's, had some pretty powerful storms, the golf was above this 10-year average line. So what it does here really doesn't mean anything. The only area that's really, is the, let me go back to the McNulty site, is this right here. The Atlantic, right here. I like to look at this one here. This is the lower Caribbean, Western Caribbean, and we are above normal there. So storms that brew here, pull north, create havoc for possibly the Caribbean areas. So that water is warm, right where it was in 24. So these are things they watch. There's a lot of long range modeling maps on Tropical Tidbits. They use the SIPS models. You go over to climate, look at CFS monthly, and you can look at pressures, and you can look at rainfall anomalies and where it might rain more or less. And I don't know how accurate these things are. How you can really, you look for patterns. I don't know. But this is a lot what they'll use. They'll look, sea surface temperature anomalies, what they expect water temperatures to be, and a lot of that's because of winds. When we don't have a lot of strong winds, we don't have a lot of upwelling, and upwelling cools temperatures. So, notice how warm it is. This is October, and if we go over to the Pacific side, it's cooler than normal. So, it's going to be cooler on the Pacific, but it's going to be warmer on the Atlantic, and that just means more fuel for storms. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's leave up the radar. My big thing, it only takes one. Chiefland. My daughter went up there. She drove through Chiefland yesterday. She went to Tallahassee to see her friend. We should be permanent residents of Chiefland. As many times as I've been through it. Judy, you took social media break? Well, the MWP chat doesn't count. So, hey, we made it to 10. Strong storms across the upper Gulf, stretching through the Panhandle in lower Georgia this evening. So watch for that. We just got a severe thunderstorm warning in the Pensacola area, just north, might be hitting. So it's coming your way, Milton. But yeah, so there you go. This line of storms is pretty intense. We can, I got all these cool radars on the site. If you go to MRMS radar, here, you can really zoom in on it and get totals and stuff. But this is a good one. It kind of shows you that heavy line right now. So that one's pretty strong. Could even be some hail with it. This is Pensacola to the south of that. But this is all coming through Louisiana right now, Mississippi, and into Florida. And this is the cluster that they're going to be watching. And then these little isolated cells behind it could be sneaky. These little guys that are tagging along underneath. So definitely a very sneaky, stormy day across the upper region there. So that's what we're watching. Tomorrow's, South Florida maybe down there to get some storms tomorrow, with storms in the middle of the state crossing over. Sneaky little low coming across the Carolinas tomorrow into tomorrow night for more North Carolina northward. We saw that spin, and then this weekend will be what we really start watching, what's brewing with this heat. So that'll be what's next. There's always a big storm system, and then there's a break, and then we get the big storm system. So it looks like our next big storm system is this weekend. That's just the way it goes. So I'm gonna work on my little video with the Chris that I met down there in Bay Pines. Gonna set up a little fun page for him. Maybe we can get him a little bit to buy some of his stuff back. He lost his houseboat. Everything sunk to the bottom of the water there, and lost everything. Collections, he told me. Great guy. And I looked him up, and ABC had a story on him too. So we'll see what we can do for him. So I'm going to put that video out here today. And we'll be live again on Wednesday, okay, for the Daily Brew. So have a great one. And appreciate you watching. And we will see you all Wednesday. Same time.